Over the past 5 years, I've been a developer on the Skyblivion project, which aims to remake the world of Oblivion in the Skyrim engine. In this new series, I wanted to share a behind-the-scenes look at what my job as implementation lead entails as we work towards completing the project, bringing you guys along as we make progress to push towards release. In this first episode, we'll be fixing up some issues around Anvil, making the final details to a new shop located inside the city, implementing some custom faces to some NPCs, including a few of which you may even recognise, and finally getting around to some changes and finalisations of some of the last major locations left in the game. Welcome to the first episode of Finishing Skyblivion. As implementation lead, my job for the project mainly consists of taking the finished assets worked on by other artists and implementers and getting them game ready. And we're jumping right in today with the city of Anvil, a city that I level designed earlier last year. And as a great milestone, once I'm done with my changes here today, that marks every single city, apart from the Imperial City, complete. First up, we've got an issue with the street mesh that needs to be altered. So we're going to take this newly fixed up version of the mesh and replace it in game. All I've got to do is simply replace the original file that has the curb straightened out. And voila, just like that, that's one issue squash. Next, we're heading over to the outside of a new alchemical shop named Tide and Tonic. And as this has a new interior, the front door was never linked up to the outside. And then I noticed the new store was still using the sign from Lil's Quality Goods. So off to Photoshop I head to make something to replace it. And really all I'm doing here is a quick and dirty snapping together of a new sign in a similar style. As I don't have the source files, I'm just doing my best to mimic the vibe of the original. With the help of some pre-made icons I bought, and some kind of shoddy drawing skills, I took the little design I did and threw in some other nicer looking potion icons behind. Did a bit of cleaning up and tweaking, and once I was done, I duplicated the mesh, making a new one from the original. Replaced it with my textures, and overall I think it came along pretty okay. I'm happy with the outcome, so it's time to get it in game, which is as simple as making a new entry in the creation kit and pointing the file path to my newly made mesh. And overall I'd say that it turned out pretty nice, and it's one less task to worry about. Next, I noticed our green-shirted friend here wandering around town and remembered that this clothing was quite broken, and we had a fixed version waiting around for me to set up. So I put the new fixed meshes in the correct file path, because organization is key. Then back to the CK to assign all of these fixed meshes to the entries of the clothing, which is only slightly more work than the sign was. But once I was done, I hopped back in game and checked to see our newly stitched green shirt, and I just checked the weights worked on the player character too. Now we're jumping back in to fix up a bunch of little details that I sloppily left in the build when I made Anvil originally, like putting the wrong doors on the Count's Arms Inn that I had to move over to the correct building in town. And finally, I realised I only partially cluttered this lower dock, and didn't actually add any fine detail to these stools. So off I went to fill these various markets, tables and stands with a variety of clutter that would just help the area feel more lived in and used by the population. Mostly I stuck to a large fishing and trading theme, reflecting the harbourside trade capital that Anvil is supposed to be. And once I was done, you can see this really helped these little stands come to life. And with that final change to the last uncluttered area in Anvil, the city was finally in a place that I can safely pass off to the Navmesh department. And with that marks every single major city, excluding the Imperial City, done in Skyblivion. Elder Scrolls is a genre where the way your character looks can really change how you can roleplay, experience, and connect with the game. So we've spent a lot of time ensuring the player has a host of new customization options for your champion of Cyrodiil. But now, we're finally in a place that we can carry some of those changes onto our NPCs. My job here consists of taking the exported head model that the artist has created and reassigning all the various face, brow, and beard textures that were made for it to fit each particular character. Essentially preparing the actual face model of these characters to be used in game by the NPCs. Finally, I just re-UV the eyelashes, and in this instance I'm going to switch out the colour of the hair to better match the artist's original preset, as clearly the colour was intended to be a bit darker and redder than it ended up in the export. And here's the final result. Next we have a few more characters to go through, this one being Uriel Septim, which, much as you could probably tell from Martin's model, designed to look like Sean Bean, this is designed after Patrick Stewart. We then have Lucien Lachance, the infamous speaker of the Dark Brotherhood, and another of the Brotherhood's members, the vampire, Vicente Valtieri. And I thought I would just give a moment to show all 4 of these final results in-game. All credit to the character artists here, who have done an incredible job bringing these characters to life. I honestly count myself very lucky, as my position in the project allows me to see all the incredible talent of our artists. And these faces in particular have been made for a very long time, and waiting on some technical hurdles that I had to figure out in order to actually get them working in game. So really, I'm just super relieved that I could finally crack the code on these and do all the artists' hard work justice by actually getting these functioning. And as you can see from these before and afters, their work really does make all the difference, turning what was our previous Martin Septim into the hero you'll be following in game, and whatever bleak, blurry version of Uriel this is, into a true emperor. The land of Edhildil is a varied region of lush trees, bright colours and green grasses, and included in that is our beautiful birch trees, that a few months ago we kinda broke, replacing almost every single use of those trees in the overworld with the same model that was made for the painted world. So I dug back a few 50 git pushes and retrieved the corrected files to re-implement. To make my life easier, I just re-implemented them all as new entries, the correct overworld trees in the front here, and all the painted world trees here at the back. And this allows me to just do some simple swaps using the creation kit's find and replace function in order to switch out every single use of a particular entry. In this instance, there's over 1000 uses, so let's hope I don't mess this up. But through pure skill or sheer luck, the process went rather smoothly, and I replaced all the necessary trees in the entirety of Edhildil with the non-broken ones I just added. And the world is now at peace once again. Next, on the topic of trees, we're delving into the Great Ironwood Forest in the Nibbon that Rebel's Eyes recently finished. And as part of finishing this area, my job was to switch out the bark on these trees to something more visually pleasing. So with the help of our talented artist, I went ahead and updated both of the tree meshes used in this region with the improved one that better reflects the climate. And it's just these final changes and additions that really make the game feel polished as we head towards our release goal. Next up is a little sneak peek at the architecture for the Imperial City, as I need to replace some buildings down in the waterfront with shortened versions, as currently there is a little problem. These houses kind of stick right through the walls and cause all sorts of issues. And while this area is a massive work in progress, this will be one step closer. So I'm just making new entries and switching out the positions of all of these waterfront buildings just to tidy up the area a bit and make it more presentable and workable when it comes time to replacing the walls and docks. And this is a good moment to say, the Imperial City is now the final part of the overworld that is yet to be finished. Meaning if you're a 3D artist and want to help push us up to release, we would really love some extra help in getting this monumental task over the finish line. But with that being said, after adjusting the positions of the buildings and the surrounding clutter, the waterfront was starting to look a lot more tidy than it did before. And while this was a very slight tease, I truly cannot wait to show all of you what we've been cooking up in the actual Imperial City, in a future dev diary. Skyblivion is full of various fiery hells the player will get to explore. One of these is owned by Boethia, the Daedric god of murder, deceit, and conspiracy. And at the heart of their realm is a ginormous shrine to their likeness. This currently is the final statue in Skyblivion left to replace, and through the grace of our incredible statue artist, I get to do the honour of putting it in game. So, as usual, I take the mesh and its textures and make sure all of it is in the right folders with some semblance of naming consistency. And in this instance, everything was ready for me. All I had to do was use a tool named Sniff to replace all the texture paths, and then we get to see Boethia Statue in all of its glory, which we can then go ahead and implement in game. taking the original entry and pointing it to its new mesh, and updating its name in CK to match the naming convention we established for all of our finished objects. And overall, it's such a cool feeling to be able to wipe out some of the last remaining Oblivion meshes from our build. It really never gets old. And finally, we're going to be taking a closer look at the arena heavy armor for both blue and yellow team, as their mesh has some issues that need updating. So after getting the updated mesh, I just went ahead and duplicated it to make a yellow team version, then went in game to ensure that the weight values were now working and that the armor didn't clip with the player's skin when worn. And thankfully all was well, and that was yet another bug wiped off the Skyblivion task list. And that's going to be all for this first episode. It's a short video, but making these episodes will be a great way of me keeping on top of my Skyblivion duties while also making content for you guys. So let me know if you like this and if you want to see me make more of these episodes leading up to release. And keep your eyes peeled on the Rebels Eyes channel, because soon we may be dropping our next developer diary for all of you to feast on. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.